Thanks to 60 Minutes and all the advertising going on about the first woman federal police commissioner. Well, the big problem I have with that is she's talking about a new group of people to conquer social cohesion, what they call social cohesion, which is controlling the masses with pretend laws, because that's all it is. You can't have a say if they implement social cohesion. You get none. It is follow their rhetoric or pay the penalty. That's why they've set up a group to do it. That's why they're singling out people. That's why they call us sovereign citizens. They say we've got a parliamentary democracy. We've got a democratic system. This is the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK. The Enabling Act enables us to have a constitution as of the 1st of January 1901. So if your social cohesion doesn't comply with this, it doesn't exist in law. I'm not interested in what you think. I see that you've got experience. I'm talking to the Commissioner. If she doesn't want to listen, then eventually she'll stand trial for treason. You think I'm joking? No. You think I'm threatening you? No, I'm not. I'm stating a fact. Why is it a fact? Because the Constitution says, whereas the people, nothing to do with political parties, pretend police, and that's what you are. There is nowhere in the Constitution says we have federal police. There's nowhere in the Constitution says we have state police. No premiers, no prime ministers, and no magistrates. So where does it come from? Imperial law. Under the 9 clauses in this act. You can say I'm wrong. I've got that many trolls attacking me at present, and I laugh at them because they're so thick and stupid. I'm a lawyer. Well, boo-hoo. You're a lawyer, so what? Are you? You've got that title. The oath to the bar is irrelevant because the bar's been dissolved. Your oath of allegiance is unlawful under section 44I of the Constitution. Don't like what I'm saying, I don't care. Every single man and woman that exercises authority in the Commonwealth of Australia swears the oath in the Constitution or they don't exist. Doesn't matter what you say or what you want, the Constitution is precise. The exercise throughout the Commonwealth has to be under the Crown. How do you exercise authority under the Crown if you don't swear an oath of allegiance? What has come to my knowledge over a long period of time is Bob Hawke created the Queen of Australia, or the Labor Party did. Doesn't matter whether anyone votes for anything. I don't vote for Liberal. I'm not a Liberal. I'm not nothing. I'm an Australian. Like everybody else who lives on this land, I'm an Australian. I'm entitled to voice my opinion because of these 2 books. You mightn't like it, but these 2 books, there's a red one and there's a green one. Anne Toomey says they're exactly the same. Anne Toomey is a liar by saying that. If she wants to push the issue, then she is a liar. This book is a Hansard of how the Constitution was put together. The reasons for it being put together. The interpretation of this act. It was used widely by the High Court until after 1979, and it tapered off and then it disappeared because the High Court sat under an act, the High Court Act, which knocked out the High Court. It gave parliamentary control of the High Court to politicians. We were asked, albeit by an unlawful referendum, to have a republic. Well, how are politicians serving the people when they wanted to change the system, take away the authority of the people and give it to themselves? You don't have to be more than a bird brain to work out that doesn't work. Now, if they had the authority for the Royal Styles and Titles Act, why don't they swear their allegiance to the Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia and her other realms, or King Charles? To start off with, if it was a lawful oath, it would have to include her heirs and successors, so help me God. Otherwise, there's no heirs and successors, so there's no King Charles. Unless you have a very loose grip on English altogether, and quite a few people do. So what we have done, and on top of this, the heading for this particular video, is 2 documents. They had to go 2 because of their length, but what they are is what's before the court in Western Australia, what they purport to be a court, challenging the jurisdiction of all the people concerned. And I'll come to that one in a minute. What I am putting forward, there's no social cohesion, there's politician cohesion. Abide by our laws or go to jail. They think they're above the law, they ignore the Constitution. Some of them say it doesn't exist, some say I didn't know it even existed. It shows their level of ridiculousness or stupidity. A parliamentary democracy, that is a political party load of garbage. A democratic system, another political party load of garbage. Another lie from some professors, all politicians, or most of them, the courts, the judges, but not the people. 26 years ago, roughly, or slightly above that, the people of this country rejected a republic. Why now do we have socialist, communist liars, being Albanese, Penny Wong and all the rest of the morons, saying that it's my government, it's Albanese Labor government, is a statement of complete and utter treason. Why? Because you've breached the oath of allegiance you owe to the people, which is treason, under your purported act, which actually doesn't exist in law. What I would like to see, and it's time, there is 2 documents, as I said above there, they're too long to put into one, so we had to put it on here as 2 so that you can print them out. You put your name in them, your address in them, and walk in and throw them on the desk of your local MP. It puts him in the picture that everything in this country that he relies on is under challenge in the court, which is our lawful right. It is also being forwarded to England to be dealt with by the committee that took over from the Privy Council. And along comes Anne Toomey and says the Privy Council's been dissolved, which it hasn't. It's been taken in the High Court of England as the Court of Chancery. So she got that wrong, or she lied, whatever. I don't care what she thinks, quite frankly. Nor should you. What then is outstanding in the human store of knowledge, being the politician humans, because they certainly aren't on the same page as us, is the lack of commitment to the people which they, according to them, serve. And they do not, and never have, not for a lot of years. You can't serve a political party and the people. I don't care who you are. I look at quite a few things said by different people and they're correct. Lydia Thorpe, her mouth, and people look at her and they're disgusted with her. Things she says, still disgusted. Who cares? She doesn't represent the majority of Aboriginal people. All she wants to do is take over everything and have some weird idea that she can run this country. She has no idea how it should run. If it wasn't for what has taken place in the past, she wouldn't have the level of education she's got now, because they didn't have any. It's not an insult, it's a fact. The problem I have with what's going on is you're going to try and force us to do what you want. I said the other day, the politicians are sovereign citizens. They're citizens of the one world government. You can have the two words there. You can, in the country you live in, you have set yourself up as sovereign, and that's exactly what you're doing. Albanese is an uneducated grub. He's getting away with selling out everything in this country because nobody is doing anything about it. I continually get abuse from idiots who claim to be of a lot of knowledge. An idiot the other day, he said he was a lawyer. Well, I won't hold that against you. You haven't got very much between your ears if you claim to be a lawyer. I know of quite a few lawyers that are nice people. But when I look at you and listen to what you said, you're a moron. The one that denigrated my wife, I answered you, you're a nut job. You think you're smart? You're not. Did you ruffle my feathers? No, you didn't. I looked at you and I looked at you in pity. It's a pity you breathe air. It's a pity you can open your mouth. But it's not my choice. What we need in this country is a lawful Commonwealth police, both at state and federal level. You become that if you swear the lawful oath in the Constitution, because your oath is to the people. You sit under the governors of the states, and the federal one or the Commonwealth police sit under the control of the Governor-General, if we had a lawful one, which we don't have, for the purpose of arresting the Parliament if it gets out of line. They're more apt to go after us. They try to take everything you got, destroy what you got, and say that they're lawful, but you're not. If the federal police were lawful, why didn't they arrest all those purported police in Victoria which opened fire on the public? No lawful reason to do it. The public were walking away and running away from them, and they opened fire on them. And you've done nothing. So you're guilty of a crime against the people of this country because you do nothing. You do nothing. You are not doing anything to help the people of this country. You are propping up political parties with your social cohesion nonsense. It is not a law because you don't have anybody to lawfully sign off and make it a law. How do I know that? Well, you go to our annotated Constitution. Page 286 says the supreme, absolute and uncontrollable authority remains with the people. So you now saying that out of your mouth you can call what we do social cohesion? Where we can't have a say? Where we must follow the rhetoric of traitors, thieves, liars, sovereign citizens pretending to govern this country when they are a parliament with limited authority? They are not sovereign, they're not supreme. The Constitution on page 346 says not all enactments of the Parliament are valid. only those passed pursuant to, in accordance with, and under the authority granted by the Constitution, and those laws only are binding on the courts, judges and people. All other laws are void. That is a fact. That's what it states. What does that mean? Well, go to page 676. It says the Constitution is above both houses of Parliament. The reason it says it is, down the bottom it says the Parliament is not supreme, and the very essence of federation is that must be so. The Parliament, like everybody else, is subject to the law and must abide by it. What does that mean? Simply, the Constitution sits above them, quasi-sovereign, because we give a portion, small portion, of the authority we have through our Constitution, which is under that on page 701, so you can see it clearly, to the legislature, the executive, and the judicature at a federal level. Julia Gillard, you just got this great big award and saying, oh, what a wonderful person you are, what a rotten traitor you are, and were and still are, and won't change until you stand trial for what you've done. Every single politician that sits in our parliament and is aware about the ban on dealing with pedophiles and does nothing about it is guilty of those offences. You're a pedophile. You think you passed your homosexual act. I've got nothing against homosexuals as long as they keep away from my kids. You want to teach what you do to my kids? No. Or anybody else I know. Oh, you think that we're not allowed to say anything? Yes, we are. Why? Because our Christian beliefs say that. We can. And try and change them. We can. They banned it in England. You try it here, you commit treason against the people. We say what the moral compass of this country is. You don't. We do not employ you to take us over. We employ you as a political party, we employ you as individuals to pass laws for us, not over us. Your political party system is blatant treason. If the Federal Police Commissioner and the Federal Police were lawful, they would have arrested you and locked you up. No one told Albanese that he could sign and agree with Palestine. We didn't say it. If he's there serving us, why didn't he put it to us first? Why didn't Penny Wong put it to us before she signed the WHO? Are those agreements binding? No. They have no authority to speak for us except with our permission. We're supreme, and that supremacy is absolute. The Constitution says, whereas the people of New South Wales, Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia and Western Australia, humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God, join together in one indissoluble federation, the Commonwealth of Australia. It can't be dissolved. You can't put it to anybody to dissolve it. You can't agree with a foreign power or anybody else to dissolve it. Majority rules. That's one of the reasons Albo the criminal, the communist, the socialist, the traitor to this country is bringing in all the immigrants. I've got nothing against Indians, but to bring them in the way they have is stupidity. When we don't have enough houses for the people here, we don't have enough jobs for the people here, and they come in here and now you're trying to decide we should live in a big glass building that relies on power. The one you have put forward, Roger Cook, Dodgy Roger. How can you say you have authority when the Constitution of Western Australia has never been put in place, the lawful one? The one that's before the court to prove its authority. versus the unlawful one, which you've been using since before Federation, which was wiped out under the Rourke D. John. I can say you are, whatever you call it, you should understand being an ex-pig. Pig, when I was in the police, was pride, integrity and guts, and the cops then had that. Majority, some weren't. And Rourke D. John, you're a moron to put that on here, so I'm just going to ignore you and delete your stupid, dumb, ill-informed comment. How do you like that? We're not stuffed at all. You say it a different way. We have absolute authority. If you get off your lazy, bludgeoning backside, I'm talking to the idiot who just put that on here, get a copy of those letters, put your name if you've got any guts, and I doubt it, your address if you've got any guts, and I doubt it, and throw it on the desk of your local MP and say, comply with our law or get out. Everything you need is there. People have said for ages, I want you to do something. How come you haven't done anything? What about studying all our law, being conversant with it, and being able to get in the face of these lying, thieving traitors?
I'll put it up later.
Isn't that good enough? The letters will be available on here. My wife is going to put them up so you can just have a look at them. I come on here day after day. I spend all my time. I've hardly slept the last couple of nights, 3 or 4, going through in my head, trying to sort out what the politicians mean about social cohesion. That, to me, the way it's worded and the way it is in Oxford Dictionary, is telling you, do what the government says or go to jail. No. You do what the people says or get the hell out of the job you purport to do on our behalf, because you're not. You know, you sit down and you push your nonsense and you think we have to believe it. No, we don't. Gone is the days where we just take what you say and say, oh, she'll be right. No, she won't be right. He won't be right. They won't be right, whoever they are. It's wrong. It's criminal. If you've got anything between your ears at all, you will comprehend the system that's coming is going to get rid of or destroy your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Oh, I don't care. I'm a real happy person. I don't care. Let them look after themselves. Well, if you're a brain-dead moron and you want to do that, then so be it. If you love your kids, I do. Half of them don't talk to me because they don't like what I say. I don't care. They cannot like what I say. What we've got before the court here, I'll find the document in a minute. It's gone. No, it isn't. It's right here. So that you'll understand, and this document will be available shortly. It's a lawful challenge to the jurisdiction of all purported courts in the Commonwealth of Australia, the authority of all the changed state constitution, the evidence that the federal parliament was lawfully established, and the authority of the High Court after the unlawful 1979 High Court Act. I and the person's name and address, we just put that in there. The problem they have is on the 9th of July 1900, under the authority of 63 and 64 Victoria, the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK was proclaimed as the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK as an enabling act to establish the Commonwealth Constitution and enable the 6 colonies to become states of a self-governing colony of England. Nothing else. The 9 clauses were added by Queen Victoria to clarify how the Constitution must work, and the application of its authority. The reason I put this in here is because a lot of people have difficulty in comprehending the fact that we were under the control of England. We had 6 colonies, which were independent governing bodies subservient to the British Parliament. They were the local government of the British Parliament. The Constitution makes it clear. The idiots would like have you believe it's not that. Each state constitution was put in place by a letters patent in their original text, as was a letters patent for the office of governor. Western Australia failed to comply with Clause 7 of the Enabling Act, and the Constitution derived from it. Fact. Western Australia colony passed the 1899 Constitution Alteration Act, ignoring the provisions of Clause 7 of our Constitution, making it an oxymoron and a fraud and an act of treason. That act was wiped out with as having no authority by the interpreters of the Constitution, being the framers, under Section 51, subsection 38 of the Enabling Act, and its lawful interpretation. That section denotes that if land control was not granted by Section 51, then it did not exist in law. That section applies to all other laws, which is clear. This letter is a lawful challenge. After that is a true definition of fee simple. That will be taken out of the document so that it stays intact. It's 2 pages, which explains your right to own the land, not Torrens title. That's a nonsense. And when you go all the way back down, it's actually 3 pages. And it's all clearly put in here. And then we get back to the truth as well. It must be noted that the supreme, absolute and uncontrollable authority remains with the people. That's on page 286 of the annotated Constitution, being the interpretation by the framers of the Constitution. That's the Red Book, the only lawful interpretation. Section 107, 108 and 109 establishes the states after the proclamation of the Commonwealth Constitution on the 1st of January 1901. The Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK, the Commonwealth Constitution 1901, the Office of Governors, the Office of Governor-General was put in place by letters patent on the 29th of October 1900. The reason I'm reading from this, because this is a letter you've got, and you can stick it in the face of the politicians and say, get out of your office, we're not employing you anymore. The problem is, you've just ignored it. Under British laws, all alterations to letters patent must be signed off by the monarch. The Colonial Laws Validity Act states that and refers to that. The annotated Constitution Red Book clearly states, even if that act had never been enacted, no colony of England can interfere with an imperial act. It was clear. I'm not going into what the states did, but every single state removed its constitution and replaced it. So the fact that we only had 5 of the 6 states required to form the first lawful federal parliament means we never had one. We can't have one until you put those state constitutions back in place, which is a remedy open to politicians before they get locked up for treason. Because we had no lawful state constitutions, where did you get the authority for the state parliaments, which comes from them? You didn't. You didn't have it. You didn't have it then, and as you took each one out, you took yourselves out. So by 1979, where did you add local government? Which, by the way, is state parliaments. Your version is a fraud and a lies. Control over a land which you don't have. If you do, prove it. And you can't. I proved in 2019 you don't have it. And you don't. Nor can you assume it. So when you added local government to the unlawful Western Australian one, which never was lawful, with number 88 in 1979, that's an act of treason against the Crown of England and the people. Every state, as you removed your constitution to replace them, was an act of treason. Come 1979, you all added local government, which was your state parliaments, which you already allegedly had, but didn't. They weren't lawful. They were political party based a lot. So your adding of local government in its present form as a control over your land was blatant treason and fraud. Read your constitution, it's clear. As a Commissioner of Federal Police, you should sit down and read what I'm saying. You will obviously get access to my Facebook page and you can see what I'm saying is correct. I don't care. One of the problems I have with Rod Cullerton, he says that all your titles are Torrens titles. No, they're not. They're fee simple titles. The only way you can buy and own land. And that's explained in the actual law. Torrens title is not ownership. That's why you have to pay year after year. People say, where do I get the money to do the roads? From fuel tax. Trillions of dollars of fuel tax every year. How come the roads have got big holes in it? You pay driver's license for roads, car license for roads, rates to the council for roads, fuel tax to pay for roads. And look what we got. Holes in the road. Roads is breaking away. Ridiculous mess you call a road system that could be improved and save lives. But oh no, you can't do that. How many people have to die on a road before you change it or fix it? Not far from here, I pulled up and I looked up the road and here's a vehicle sitting in the side of a car and killed the person. Not so long ago. Why? Because the intersection's a mess. No one's even attempted to fix it since. It is a bottleneck at all times with cars going everywhere. And it's a stupidity to leave it how it is. People die. How many do die before you're going to fix it? How many times are you going to put up with the crap that's fed you before you wake up? The Parliament, have no control over your land. Except whatever you do on your land cannot affect the people around you. What you do on it is your business. You own to the centre of the earth. The Act says so. You own to the extremities of space. What are you doing with your little mobile cameras sitting above our property? Oh, look at that. The poor bloke in the eastern states blew it out of the air and you fined him. He fired his gun on his own property. It was retained in his property except for it blew your stupid little machine to pieces. Shouldn't have been there. I don't mean when the plane flies over, that's different. It's for the good of all the public. Do they really need the permission of the people? If you took the time to look at it, yes. Yeah, vehicles have to be roadworthy, but roads aren't car-worthy. Fact. Absolute fact. The problem is we have politicians who are there for money. They're not there for the people. The House of Representatives. How do you have a House of Representatives that doesn't represent the people? Who are they representing? They're political parties. Where does their sovereignty lie? In their political parties. Where does their ultimate citizenship lie? In the one world system, which they want to bring in and take control. So they'll say, do this, do that, give me more money, do this, do that, give me more money. So their sovereign citizen is exactly what I said it is. It is the politicians, the courts, the judges, the people, everybody involved in running this country. You are all required, before you take up your position, to swear the oath in the Constitution. So you become officers of the Commonwealth. Are you? No, you're not. I don't care what oath you swear. How do I know that? We filed writs of mandamus into the High Court against every politician in Western Australia. It came back because we did it under 75(5) of the Constitution. It came back, you can't go through because they're not officers of the Commonwealth. Well, they're not officers of the Commonwealth. You just admitted they're committing a crime. And you know they have because in the Western Australian Court Act says, I, whoever, do solemnly swear I will serve the people in the state of Western Australia. The people are the state in the Constitution. The state of Western Australia is created under Section 8 of the Acts Amendment Repeals Court and Legal Practice Act, removes the Crown. Section 5 joins lying lawyers to the court. So when you go to court, you've got lawyers who are officers of the court lying to the court, doing deals with other lawyers so that you pay anyway. Is that true? Yes. A gentleman rang me the other day. He got a $20,000 agreed settlement. He has to live with his disability for the rest of his life. The lawyers took $16,000, left him with $4,000. You think that's justified? They did a deal with the other lawyers and kept stringing him along until he ran out of money, and that's what he got. Does this happen all the time? Absolutely. Where unscrupulous morons take all the money that's supposed to send, and then along comes Social Security and they want their money out of the $4,000 that he had left. So he gets nothing. Oh, that's for future Social Security payments. No, it's not. When he's disabled under the Constitution, you have to pay him a pension. When you reach a certain age, which was 65, who gave politicians the authority to change it to 70? Nobody. Then how do we have to pay for a pension? It's been paid for since the 1st of January 1946. You've taken 7.5% of wages and still take it. You've never put it back. How do I know? Oh, the political parties, a lovely lady here who helped me get my pension by issuing a ministerial notice to the lovely Centrelink, which is Services Australia, owned by a company in Texas. Isn't that interesting? If they want to save money, how come they're pouring the money into a company in Texas? Why can't anybody here run it? They did before. Why can't the public service? No, they don't want that. You want control. That's what it's about. Lie, cheat and steal and lie to everybody. You can go in and you can pretend. Actually, age pension is 67, it's 65, and for women it's 60. Who told them they could change it? We didn't. The pension is paid for. It isn't charities. The Constitution says you will pay it. The provision was put in there for 7.5% tax to pay for our pension. Pay for it. So we pay for it. But then comes the greedy mongrels. Oh, look at him, he's earned millions. Why should he get a pension? Then why should he pay for it? You want that person to pay 7.5% of his money. He gets a lot more than you, but he still pays for his pension. Get rid of superannuation so everybody's on the same level. Politicians should not get a pension until they reach the age. Ryan, how do we make the Prime Minister pay for his actions? How do we call him out? How do we kick him out? How do we just here in the whole lot of them and start again? How do you do it? First of all, you step up and become one of us, one of the 17 million people that make up this country. That's how you do it to start off with.
27 million.
27 million, whatever. Doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, we are putting 2 notices on here. They're signed off by a lawful Justice of the Peace, lawful one, not the current ones, just the lawful one. And you can have a look, print it out, put your name, your address there, and go and stick it on the desk of your local MP and say, comply with it. That's what you can do to start off with, without coming on here, how do we do this, swear and carry on, like somehow I have a magical way of changing it. I'm one person. You are one of those people. Why don't you do something about it? Why don't you? Why don't you? Because you're not. You want somebody else to do it. Can they just take your firearms without a lawful reason? No. If they take those firearms, they need a warrant. They need to put the matter before a court, not before a tribunal. Can the commissioner make the assumption that you're not suitable? If you make threats and everything else, which would give him the right to put the matter before a court, still he doesn't get to make the decision. He can issue a warrant, put with it an affidavit and a material statement of facts to obtain that warrant. Hand it to you, a lawful copy, not one that's not signed like what happened here. Nothing on it at all. Then we get one in there, evidence to say, oh, it's all signed. No, it's not. The one you gave to us wasn't. You entered in total trespass. And you're going to pay for that. And you're an ex-cop, you've got no excuse. Corey Owen, and I am bringing it here, I am putting it here, because you broke the law. You trespassed on this land, and you brought police with you who are only public officers, not lawful police. If you don't know, too bad. I'm not interested in what you think. You come here, you abuse the process, you did not have a warrant, you had no idea what the lawful address was, and for that you're going to pay. How's that? Don't like what I said? Too bad. I don't like you and your attitude and the lies that you carried out on that day, and the other gentleman with you. You had no right to enter this property without a lawful warrant. Who says so? We do. Who voted to retain the Crown? We did. And that's what you have to comply with, not what you want. So I'll leave it there. Their notices are going to be on this post. You can download them, fill out your name and your address, and hand it to your local MP and say, read it, understand it, and get out. Simple. It's our law. It's our country. We were born here, so we are sovereign. We are supreme. We are native, and we're indigenous by birth. If you choose to call us anything else, then you're a waste of space. We cannot separate this country because you've been removed. I showed you in the Constitution theirs, where they used the 1967 referendum to change several things and remove you and us from our Constitution, from our country. It is our land as much as it is yours. There is a history that must be investigated, not this magical map with all these areas on it that you couldn't even write, let alone do that. Am I insulting you? No, I'm stating a fact. Were there people able to vote from the native peoples? Yes, there was. Why didn't they? The ones that could did. The ones that didn't understand didn't. So what are we supposed to do? Vote for you? No. Teach you. What does the Constitution say? Exactly that. Teach you. Clothe you, feed you, house you, and give you a small amount of money. What's just happened in Geraldton is they provided an area where people from Meekatharra, Magnet, Yalgoo and that can come into town. They've got short stay buildings for the native people from out there that haven't got anywhere to stay. Instead of sleeping on a concrete pad like they did in Darwin, with nowhere to stay with all the kids so she could get treatment. Where were you? Where were the people who say, oh, that's our nation? Well, why weren't you there? Why didn't you provide at least a tent, food, a toilet for them? You didn't. You want, oh, look at the white slaves to do it, which is how you're treating us. No, I don't believe we are slaves because we're not. We were born here too. We're not going to be enslaved to you. You haven't got enough people to force it. And I don't believe the majority of people want that. They want peace. Assimilate together so we can live as a society. Colour of your skin doesn't say you're different to others. Your attitude does. And nothing more. Your attitude. And these people like this new police commissioner who thinks she has the right to talk to us and treat us the way they have and put forward social cohesion, which is nothing more than compliant with unlawful laws. That's all it is. And we're not going to, because you can't make us. You think you can. You think you're going to be bunches of thugs. You'll find out the people will resist you, and they have every right to. Magna Carta allows us to. You don't believe in Magna Carta, I don't care. You better get used to it, because it's the supreme law of this country. Constitution, 1688 Bill of Rights, habeas corpus, Magna Carta, Act of Settlement, King James Bible, supreme law of this country. Like it or lump it. That's how it is. So have a nice day. Thank you. Yes, I was folding it.